Yesterday, the House and Senate voted to close a loophole in the Stock Act. Now, we've been following this for weeks. The Stock Act, you may remember, was passed to prevent lawmakers from profiting from confidential information they learn on the job. A lot of people were surprised they could even do that. It requires thousands of federal officials to publicly report financial transactions greater than $1,000 within 45 days. The bill had bipartisan backing, but the way it was written, family members of some lawmakers could have still profited from inside information. Well, today's votes changed that and came about after our own Dana Bash exposed the loophole in an exclusive report 2 weeks ago. Watch.
Let's say that I find out some information, I tell my wife, and she goes and trades on it. What's the difference? I mean, bottom line is we're supposed to have that level of transparency and have us be treated like every other member of the United States.
It specifically says that members of Congress do not have to have their spouse or their children file.
I think it's wrong, and I think it's unfortunate, because the reality is the whole point of this legislation is that we should play by the exact same rules as every other American citizen. And when all of America looks at Washington, they know it's broken.
Dana joins us again. So, Dana, I mean, basically you were pointing out to these members of Congress what was actually in the bill, the wording on this loophole. So tell us what happened today.
Well, what happened is because Deirdre Walsh, our incredible producer who really initially found this, and I reported this and sort of investigated it out. You remember in the first time we reported this on this program, we sort of all roads led to the House Majority Leader, Everett Cantor, because he was the one who ultimately wrote the legislation. We contacted his office. We told him about this. Took a little time, but they came back and said, you know what, you're right. This is inaccurate, and we're going to have to change this.
Deirdre and Dana, I will tell you that this is Dana's third Dirksen Award, an unprecedented third award. Congratulations. Thank you very much, and I want to congratulate the team at the Washington Post, who also is receiving the Dirksen Award tonight. Now, the first recipient of an award tonight said that he was bummed out that Michelle Obama isn't here. I'm just glad that I didn't trip on the way to the stage here, Jennifer Lawrence style. But Cece, you're back there. It is great to see you. It is really an honor to receive this award in honor of your grandfather, the great Everett Dirksen. Senator Dirksen was one of the most quotable figures in the history of the Senate, and you heard a little clip of that, and you understand why. One of the pithy things he is quoted as saying is, "When I feel the heat, I see the light." Now, there are a lot of ways to interpret that quote. When I feel the heat, I see the light. And that's what makes Senator Dirksen and that quote so brilliant. But for the purposes of the Dirksen Award, it means that we as reporters, if we put the heat on Congress, then we uncover something, maybe they will see the light. On the other hand, when the sequester kicks in 48 hours, maybe we will all be without heat or light. Now, Deirdre is going to get more into our story in a minute and how it came about, so I just want to take one moment to talk about Deirdre and what I believe her winning this award represents. And that is the hard and creative work every day by people behind the scenes in television news. It is cliche to say television is a team effort, but it happens to be true. And I am incredibly lucky that I get to work every day and collaborate with people like Deirdre, my partner in crime out there somewhere, our Senate producer Ted Barrett, and our fearless leader Craig Brofman, and the rest of our talented Hill team. Please applause. Definitely. Now, they have boundless enthusiasm, spot-on news judgment, and old-school journalistic standards, the kind that give people in our business the oxygen that we really need to function, and that is credibility. As for Deirdre, she's the one who sticks around for the late votes. She comes in for early caucus meetings, and she still shows me by example how to navigate the very tricky world of being a working mom. So it is an honor to win this award, of course, but the biggest honor is to be able to share it with my friend and colleague, Deirdre Walsh.
Okay, no pressure, Dana, thanks. Thank you. It is a huge thrill to receive this Dirksen Award with my partner in crime, Dana. I've learned so much about covering Congress from her, but also from following the reporting of previous Dirksen Award winners. Speaking of previous Dirksen Award winners, as he mentioned, this is Dana's third Dirksen Award. I think you're going to have to start a Dirksen Hall of Fame for Dana Bash. The unprecedented hat trick that she pulled off is a testament to her stellar reporting and tireless work ethic. She has set the bar so high for all of us at CNN, and we're much better for it. What makes us both so proud to receive this award is because it recognizes a story that involved us, as John Boehner would say, getting off our butts to do some good old-fashioned shoe leather reporting. I had to clean up the Boehner line for this family-friendly audience, but you all know what he said. We all now work in an incredibly fast-paced news environment. Type 140 characters on Twitter, break news, move to the next thing. Sometimes it's a challenge to pursue stories that need some digging and require more explanation. And in this case, our story involves some buzzwords that had the real potential to make the eyes of CNN show producers glaze over. I mean, we're talking about legislative language, dense ethics committee guidelines, and lots of legalese. I mean, those are real ratings winners, right? But below the surface, we had a story about Congress patting itself on the back about passing a bill that had a loophole in it and the very real potential not to do as advertised. You saw the background. People here, I'm sure, remember that 60 Minutes aired a story in 2011 that raised questions about whether members of Congress were profiting from inside information. Republicans and Democrats jumped to respond. So in warp speed, well, it was really 4 months, but we're talking about Congress here, both chambers overwhelmingly passed the Stock Act. They pledged their financial transactions would be more transparent and they would play under the same rules as everyone else. But a couple months later, I learned that there was a glaring difference in how the Senate and the House interpreted the law. So we followed the thread of the story, and the more we pulled on it, the more lawyers we had to talk to. And I'll admit, those conversations left me so much more confused. This was one of those rare times when I thought maybe I had made a mistake when I gave up my plan A, which was law school, in exchange for my plan B, journalism. But it did become clear to us that the Senate required spouses and family members to report their trades, but the House didn't. We traced what happened, and I'll sum it up. The cut and paste function on the computer had gone horribly awry. If lawmakers really wanted to do some insider trading, they could tell their husbands or wives or children, and we would never know. At first, as we saw, staffers in the Majority Leader's office insisted there were no differences. But finally, after phone calls and going over the bill in mind-numbing detail, they admitted they hadn't changed the intent of the law inadvertently. 2 weeks later, the House and Senate passed a new bill to fix it. After tracking the legislative process for years, it was really something to watch Congress take action to fix a problem that we had shined a light on. Dana talked about the team effort, and I know everyone says that up here, but it's really true at CNN, and we have an amazing team. Our leader and voice of reason is Craig Brofman. On this and everything else we cover, he pushed us to get our questions answered and helped us figure out how to tell a pretty complicated story for a TV audience. From day one, when I joined the CNN Hill team, I have followed the lead of Ted Barrett, who's my Senate counterpart. He's an amazing reporter, and I'm lucky to call him a friend, and I still ask him for advice all the time. Our creative colleague, Lori Uri, put the piece together with our master editor, Roger Hummel, to make it look great on TV. We also work with fantastic Hill producers, Rachel Streitfeld and Alan Silverleib, and our colleague from CNN Radio, Lisa Desjardins. My old boss is here, Paul Steinhauser. And as everything in TV, we would never get any of this on without our amazing photojournalist. I want to thank CNN's DC Bureau Chief, Sam Feist, but he's a lawyer, so hopefully he didn't take offense when I complained about talking to lawyers. Also want to thank Anderson Cooper and his team at AC360 for putting our story on TV and their continued focus at keeping our government officials accountable. I also owe a special note of gratitude to Judy Woodruff, who gave me my first job at CNN. My personal cheerleading section is here tonight, my dad, Jack Walsh, with my brothers, JP and Jim. Most importantly, I want to give a special shout out to my best friend and husband, Mike O'Connor, who often threatens to throw my BlackBerry out the car window, but he's very supportive. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret about Mike. He doesn't work in politics or journalism, and he is a loyal CNN viewer, but he's also a regular listener of C-SPAN radio, so he often fills me in on things that I've missed. So I'm sorry to out you, Mike, but you are as big of a Congress nerd as the rest of us. Mike and I are blessed with our beautiful daughter, Maddie, who's 5 and full of questions, so I'm thinking she has a future in journalism. Again, this is an exciting night for me and my colleagues, And my mother, who I miss, would have been thrilled to be here and see both of her sons wearing suits, although evidently JP forgot his tie. We're very happy to receive this award, and we're pleased that CNN continues to pay us to walk the halls of the Capitol. Thank you.